Hello and welcome to the HR Happy Hour Work Break. You are here with Trish and Christy Engler. You are not Steve Bose. How are you?
Thanks, Trish. I'm excited
Uh,
to be here today. This is so much fun.
Good. I am excited to have a guest host. So, for anyone that doesn't follow Steve Bose, so Steve is actually on a flight right now as we speak. He is off to see our friends at Oracle. They're doing a big analyst day tomorrow. And so I'm sure he'll come back full of lots of information about what Oracle is up to with the new Oracle Grow, which is part of their Oracle Me platform. But I am actually going to be going to Unleash for the remainder of this week. So that is why I am not with Steve. And so anyway, I thought, wouldn't it be fun just to like tweet out to the world and say, like, would anyone like to guest host with me? And here you are.
Woohoo!
So for anyone that doesn't know you, I know you've got a bunch of followers here on Twitter, but this is going out across different platforms. So maybe give us a little bit about who you are. What do people need to know about Christy?
Awesome. Well, thanks again. I'm so excited to be here. So I am going on 20 years in the HR space and been doing primarily in the outsourcing world. And I'm currently the head of people and culture at Willery, and I've been there. It'll be a year next week.
Okay.
So kind of made the leap over there. So um, I am just super passionate about the organization and about HR in general. And I love helping people and all that good stuff. I could geek out on and have HR, shop conversations all day long if people would let me. So I've been speaking the last 3 years. Started during the pandemic, which was super great to do
Great
virtual
timing, right? No.
virtual presentations. And then once you do your first in person and you get that energy and the actual in-person interaction, and it was like wow. So that was fantastic. So I've been doing a lot of that, which is awesome. And then I was a co-author in People Fusion, which came out in
Oh,
January, and so very very excited and happy about that too. So
well,
just all
wonderful.
kinds of cool things going on.
That's great. And I know you've got a blog, so I want to pop that up there. Can people find out about how to work with you there
Yes.
and the book and everything?
Absolutely. And
Okay.
so I am an autism mom. My
I
youngest
know.
is on the spectrum. And so a portion of all of the proceeds from the book will go to organizations that are supporting autism families. And right now, obviously, being National Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month, we're pushing that pretty hard. And so yesterday, actually, for the first time, I completed my first half marathon
Oh my God.
and did that with Mr. Tom Daniels from the great state of Ohio from Bowling Green, and we did that for in honor of my daughter, and he's actually working with an organization in Northwest Ohio that works with autism families. So um, so that's a big cause for me and something obviously near and dear to my heart. So if anyone thinks about checking out the book, know that some of it's going to go to do good things.
Wow. Okay. So I love that we just jumped on here and I didn't know all of that because so no, it's very serendipitous because Steve and I actually do a lot of work on the actual podcast around people who have different neurodiversities or different physical disabilities. And we've done so much with like the Frist Center for Autism at Vanderbilt University and just
Yep.
recently had on a guest. The episode hasn't even run yet, but Ed from Optimize, who also very much around the autism spectrum and research and what you can do to actually hire more people who are on the spectrum and how you can make work more comfortable for them, but for
Right.
everyone, really, because we all have different um, ways that we need to think and process information, right? So,
Right.
well, this is like a total blessing to have you on the show, really. And so as a side note, we need to get you on the podcast then about the book, right? Because we would
Excellent.
love
Yeah,
to implement that.
that'd be
So,
great. That'd be great.
so you mentioned you are in Ohio, right?
Ohio.
I've got to ask you because so my kids, I have twins, boy and a girl. They are freshmen at the University of Nebraska.
Okay.
So, are you like a big Ohio State
Oh,
fan?
Trish,
Like, what's
mm,
the
I'm
scoop?
the
You are
fan.
the
I am the fan. My husband and I are
wow.
alum. We met there.
Oh my
We
goodness.
were both, heavily involved in things on campus, My husband actually works there now. I actually adjunct
Oh,
professor at Ohio State. Um,
love
I
it.
already have the countdown going on in my office to kickoff
Do
in
you
September.
really?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
can I share with you, so my son played football, and he absolutely was so great, like MVP of his high school
Nice.
team, right? So good football player, but he definitely is not like Ohio State level,
Yeah.
right? But we did go to football camp there, and I have to tell you, the recruitment, the way they recruit, I don't know if you've ever even seen like the recruitment process there or the video that they show to
Right.
all the boys. I wanted to go play football there.
Right.
I was so moved. I was almost in
Yes.
tears at,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
the way they break you down and the way they build you up and your family. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, my daughter and I toured that campus,
Yeah.
beautiful
Yeah.
campus,
Yeah.
literally so beautiful. Yeah, so I didn't plan it, but so yeah, we are our football isn't as good, right? But we have hope. We have
We
hope.
have hope. We have hope.
Went Nebraska
There you go. There
this
you go.
weekend. Um, so this is a question for you. So we had our big spring, scrimmage game this
Yes.
past Saturday,
Yes.
and I'm actually sold my house. I'm a digital nomad now, but I happen to be in Lincoln right at the moment, Lincoln, Nebraska. And so went to the game, the scrimmage game, almost 61,000 people
Yep.
at the game. Is it
Yep.
that way at Ohio State as
Oh,
well?
yes. I was there, 2
I
weeks
don't
ago. We had ours,
Wow.
and, I actually took, my daughter, Emily, for the first time. She had been in the stadium before, but not for a game,
Yeah.
um, and she's actually my sports kid. So
Oh my
she'll
gosh.
watch games with me, and she's really into it, so I really wanted to take her. So we went. We had over 75,000, and
That is
they keep
unreal.
talking about there was a year, I think it was 2016, we had
Mhm.
over 100,000 people who came to the spring game. I mean, it's so awesome, but I do love it because it's cheap. It's less than 10 bucks to get in.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, folks who could never, maybe afford to come during the regular season, this is your opportunity, and it's fantastic because you can go everywhere. They don't
Mhm.
limit you by section, and all of the guard isn't quite up as it usually is. So, it's a great time. The spring game
See,
is a
and
great
I
time.
had no idea about this. So I
Yeah,
would say no matter where you are, go to whatever your big local university is or in your
absolutely.
state,
Yep.
right? Go to their spring game. It was
Yeah.
so fun.
So
And
much fun.
yeah, I went to one of the
So much
Nebraska
fun.
games last fall and I think it was over $200 because we wanted to sit
Yes.
down low. It was
Yeah.
over $200 a ticket
Yeah.
to have a semi decent seat, like down lower. And yeah, it was, I think
Yeah.
I paid $11 the other day to go.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, but it
Yeah.
was cold.
Yeah, it's
It was
tremendous.
cold here, let me tell you what.
Okay. The
The
ours was really
cats,
nice. It was actually really warm, like, the sun was beating down.
I
And
can
we
wish.
usually either have that or it's pouring down rain. So it's usually one of the 2
There you go.
for us here, yeah.
There you go.
But but
Well,
yeah.
what else is new? What else did you do over the weekend? Anything else fun or anything that, you wanna share with everybody?
Well, I had to travel to the Toledo area for that half marathon, so I did that on Saturday evening and then ran yesterday morning, and then came home. So it was,
So what is
quite
recovery
the
like?
adventure.
We hear a lot of from people who are training for marathons and half marathons, I think that's pretty but what is, like, recovery? So is A, is this your first time? And
Yes.
B, what are you doing to recover? Or is it not that big of a deal? I would think it'd be a lot physically and mentally.
Yes, first time, first time. I actually got into running about 3 years ago. I have a very dear friend who beat breast cancer in 2019, and she said, "Hey, I think to celebrate, we should run a marathon."
Oh my
When your
gosh.
best friend says that to you, you say yes,
Yes.
even if so that was 3 years ago, and there's been starts and stops and, physical injuries and just different stuff. So, last spring, we did a quarter together, which was great,
Okay.
and then, I did this half, obviously, with Tom Daniels and being involved with that, and
Mhm.
then, she's doing another quarter next weekend.
Okay.
So we're kinda still, in it to win it, um, but actually, I feel pretty good today. I mean, I'm a little sore. I'm walking around a little creaky today, but I think my training did me well. So,
Alright, so big
yeah.
question, I know runners wanna know, like, what's your recommended shoe?
I actually went to so we have several different actual running stores here
Mhm.
in Columbus. These people are hardcore
Right.
and got my foot evaluated because I have hardly any arch and I'm pretty wide at the top.
Okay.
And so they recommended, so I'm in a Brooks. I'm in a
You're in a
Brooks
okay,
Ghost
alright. So,
shoe,
hear a
and
lot of
it's
Brooks
worked well.
and Hoka
Hoka,
and right, there's some
yeah,
different ones, so okay.
yeah. So, yeah.
Good to know. Well, you know what? So it was interesting. Steve Bose was actually here in Lincoln over the weekend because we were doing like just a bunch of work planning since we've got some business travel the next couple months and I won't get to see him in person. But one of the things we did was we went to a place called Art and Soul, where it's like
Ooh,
you've probably heard of like maybe where you paint and drink
yes,
wine. Well, this was
right.
like paint and have coffee and breakfast. So, you know,
That's
I'm in my
cool.
50s. I've got to like, got to ease into this thing. So, but I want to share like so I bought a mug. The woman who runs it, her name is Marilyn. It's here in Lincoln, Nebraska. She painted this painting and then she like puts it on different things. I thought that
That's
was
oh,
really cute, but
that's really
um
pretty.
we were laughing because this turned out to be just like something where you go and there's like an inspiration painting. You don't have
Yeah,
to paint it, but you're supposed to kind of paint it. So I'll
sure.
show you mine. So it was all about using complementary colors, right? So this was
Ooh,
more of the red and green sort of a thing.
okay.
And it's funny how when someone you give someone and this is sort of an HR tie-in, okay, if you'll hang on a second, but it's like you give someone the same tools, the same thing to look at, right, to make, um, the same paints, the same instructions from the same instructor at the same
Yep,
time, right? His painting could not be more different. I mean, it was so drastically different, and so it just got me thinking, like, how many times we expect employees to know what we want, right? We give them the thing that we want them to do and the tools.
right.
I would just love to hear your thoughts on something like that. Like, what have you run into that in your career? I'm sure you probably have, where just
Oh,
like you have an
absolutely.
idea what you want and then it just does not materialize the same way, right?
And I can honestly say a lot of times I've been pleasantly surprised in those situations because what I especially love about different HR practitioners and hanging out and collaborating is the different backgrounds everybody has and different experiences. And from working in outsourcing where you get a little taste of everything,
Mhm.
every facet and every industry. And I just worked with some fantastic people and we would have different conversations around, hey, the situation's going on with this employee and whatnot. And the different takes that people would have
Mhm.
based on their experiences and based on their background. Um, I can tell you having a special needs child has definitely changed the way I look at a lot of things. I definitely am used to be not as coming at things with empathy and assuming positive intent and, all of those kinds of great things. And now I do because,
Yeah.
I've learned that nobody has any idea what anybody's going through,
That
on
is
a
so
daily
true.
basis. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
so I love I love hearing where everybody else is coming from. That's one of my favorite things.
I love that. Well,
So,
before we wrap, I know we're getting close to where we probably need to go, but I do have a final question. So I was actually interviewed over the weekend for a college project where they were talking about what got you into the role that you're doing. What do college students need to know? And so, of course, I was talking about like getting into HR. I did HR for almost 20 years before kind
right.
of going out on my own. I just love to hear kind of what is the background story of yours? How did you get into doing what you're doing?
So I, from the time I was about 3, told everybody I was gonna be the president
Oh,
of the
okay.
country. And, then I was about 5 and I thought, I should probably do something first." So I was gonna go to law school. I was gonna be a lawyer. That carried me until I graduated college
Oh
or
my
graduated high
gosh.
school. Sorry, graduated high school, went to The Ohio State University with every intention of, "Okay, I'm eventually going to law school."
Right.
Junior year, I added a business-focused minor to my political science degree, took an HR 101 intro kinda
Mhm.
class, and it seriously, Trish, clicked as I'm sitting there. It was like, "Oh, wait a minute, this is what I'm supposed to be doing." And so I changed focus, I got a master's in HR afterwards, and just totally went that route in that direction. I know it's not that simple and easy and ceremonious for most people, my oldest daughter is 16, and so we're starting to have the conversations around
Mhm.
college and all of these things. And what I do tell people, it does not matter where you go to school. It's about what you do when you're there.
Yes.
I know
Yes.
so many people who go to these prestigious schools who do nothing but mess around for 4 years. Um, or they're just a little lost, not don't take advantage of all the opportunities. So honestly, when I look at resumes, I do not look at education. I go right to experience, activities, community service, what those kinds of things. I could care less where you went to school. I gotta be honest.
Okay, I love that you shared that. First of all, I love your background because we do actually oddly have a similar background. I
Yeah,
was sociology and political science because I wanted to
nice.
be an FBI or DEA agent. And then kind of met an
Yeah,
HR person and it clicked, right?
yeah,
And so
right,
got that sociology and political science with a master's in HR. But what I was saying to her was that you can have a degree in anything. It's really more about can you start something and complete it? So whether that's a college education, a trade education, going through the military, it's can you start something and complete it
right,
and learn about communication and process. And I
right,
think for most jobs you can learn probably just as much on the job, right, to prepare yourself. But it's interesting. I mean, you went to a very prestigious school. I think a lot of these schools, my kids, luckily, we lived in Illinois. Nebraska was a reciprocal state.
right,
Otherwise, we would have been at at
right,
the Ohio State, right? But yeah, you're talking about 50 to $60,000 a year
right,
for that school or where my kids go. If you're not from a reciprocal state or you're not from Nebraska, you're gonna pay I think it's about 43,000 for this one, but
right.
still a ton of
Wow.
money,
Right,
right? So,
right,
students really do need to think about that, and I'm glad that you said it doesn't necessarily matter. It's more what you do with the opportunities and, things you're given when you're actually there.
right,
So good
right.
lesson, good lesson. Well, my friend, thank you for coming on. Where are all the best places for people to connect with you? Other than I'm gonna pop your, blog site up one more time, but yeah, where else can
Awesome.
people get a hold of you?
Twitter is great, and LinkedIn are those are my spots where I spend most of my time. So please connect with me there and let's have a conversation.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We've got to do this again. And come on the podcast, please. We
Love
need to
to.
talk about everything you're up to.
Love it.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks everyone for watching as always. I mentioned I'll be at Unleash later this week. If you are going to Unleash here in Las Vegas, please DM me, look me up. Let's at least say hello to each other. I do think I'm going to try and sneak in a couple work breaks while I'm there live from the floor somewhere. So be looking for those. And obviously back next week with a bunch of special guests because yeah, when I kind of put out into the world that I wanted a guest host, I got several offers. So I've got everything from vendors to other podcasters to HR professionals, analysts, you name it. So it's going to be a fun couple
Very
weeks. So
exciting.
yeah, Steve's going
Yeah,
to get a little break, I think.
yeah, yeah. Stretch out.
Exactly, exactly. All right. Well, take care and thanks again, everyone.
Thank you.